Alrighty, boys, you about ready? Alrighty, boys, let's do this. Oh shit. There we go. Alrighty, boys. So this is going to be the rules to the hardcore WoW community, and I'm going to watch them, so I kind of have an idea of what's going on. And yeah, join me. That way, if you guys are wanting to play as well, you can get in here. Let's do this shit.
Hello gamers! This will hopefully be a quick introductory guide to Classic Hardcore, the permadeath community on World of Warcraft Classic. We will be going over where to play, the hardcore add-on, the rules, and cover some frequently asked questions. I of course will be having timestamps down below if you want to skip ahead at any point. There's a lot to cover, so let's get into it. As a blanket first step, I would recommend joining the Hardcore Discord at discord.gg/classichc. Here you can find all of our updated rules, as well as lists of the current guilds, announcements for upcoming events, and any other important information you may need. Due to the nature of this video, information here will eventually be out of date. I would highly recommend joining the Discord and just checking in on the rules and making sure everything is still accurate. So, where to play? Due to the nature of the challenge being primarily a personal achievement, you can play anywhere you want. However, if you want to see death alerts, find other hardcore players to do dungeons with, or potentially do hardcore raids, it helps to join one of the community-picked servers. The hardcore challenge is primarily located on Classic Era, the 1-60 vanilla servers. There is a smaller but sizable group of players playing hardcore on Wrath of the Lich King as well. For Classic Era, you'll be looking for Bloodsail Buccaneers for North America and Hydraxian Waterlords for EU. Horde and Alliance are both active, however Alliance tends to have the most players, mostly due to the raiding scene being active on Alliance. We will talk more about hardcore raiding later in the FAQ section. For Wrath of the Lich King, you want Maldath Horde for North America and Giant Stalker Alliance for Europe. Unfortunately, due to the small player pool, only one faction is populated on these realms. Both regions currently have an ongoing raiding scene, with EU recently killing Kel'Thuzad on hardcore characters. So, you've picked your server, probably made a really cute character, and you're dying to log in. Before you do that, you need to get the hardcore add-on and make sure you understand our rules to avoid invalidating your run. We have a verification system built into the hardcore add-on to ensure all players follow the rules. And while you are free to ignore certain rules if you don't like them, this will make you an unverified character and unable to join the hardcore dungeons and hardcore raids. Additionally, you will not be listed on our Hall of Legends for players that reach max level. At the end of the day, it's a personal challenge and you decide how hard or easy it should be and what rules to follow. Just if you want to play with us, you need to follow our rules. The hardcore add-on does all of the verification automatically, and even blocks certain actions that can invalidate your run. Just make sure you log out of the game normally, and do not Alt F4 or press exit game. Alt F4ing or exiting game cause data loss. which can impact your verification. You can grab the Hardcore add-on from your usual preferred add-on websites such as CurseForge, WoW, or the Hardcore GitHub page. For those of you doing a manual installation, the add-on stores all of your character data that is used for run verification in the WTF folder, not the interface folder, so you can safely replace and update files in the interface folder without ruining your run. If you ever need to reinstall WoW, make sure you back up your WTF folder to save your run data. Once you have the Hardcore add-on, you can now log in and start your verified character. You'll be greeted with a screen showcasing the Hardcore contract. This is basically you agreeing that you've read the rules, and we are not to blame if you break a rule without knowing about it. Additionally, if you are playing with friends, you can select your duo or trio partners here as well by clicking on the Party tab. Currently, there are no plans to allow groups bigger than 3 on a verified run. There is also an achievement page where you can select your starting achievements. This can be something as simple as don't use health potions or only equip white gear. However, it can also be something as difficult as complete the challenge without ever taking a single point of damage. No one's ever completed this one at the time of this video. These achievements are optional difficulty modifiers that add up a total number of points on your Hardcore character pane. They are for nothing other than bragging rights. However, an achievement leaderboard is in progress on the website. However, it's not currently available and I cannot show it in this video. There are a lot more achievements, such as do elite quests while underleveled, reach a certain level quickly, or for example, reach level 60 while doing every Hardcore dungeon. However, these will be automatically rewarded to you if you complete them while playing. You only need to select starting achievements when first making your character. If later down the road you decide the achievement isn't for you, you can use the command on screen to cancel the achievement and continue your character. Failing an achievement does not mean that you need to delete your character. Once you've selected your party members and selected your starting achievements, press Begin Adventure. While you are level 1, you can still change your selections at any time, but the moment you level up to level 2, you are locked in, so make sure you consider your choices carefully. Once you've began your adventure, you can type /HC show to bring up the main Hardcore menu panel. This allows you to do things like check up on the rules or look at your verification status. I'd recommend checking your verification status periodically just to make sure you're still a valid character. Don't be too stressed about the time track number, especially at lower levels. It fluctuates heavily depending on how recently the add-on saved your data. Additionally, due to the rate the data saves information, it can be a bit behind. I would only start to worry if you have a low percentage above level 30. You can avoid data loss by logging out normally and not pressing exit game. You can also check what levels you've reached on various characters and see what dungeons you've ran. At the time of this recording, the dungeon tab is still in beta, and it sometimes tracks things incorrectly. Due to this beta state, it will not fail your run if some data is missing. So, that is the Hardcore add-on, and now we can cover the rules. As mentioned previously, the Hardcore rules are covered on the Discord and the add-on page, and are much more likely to be up to date than they would be in this video. As such, I'm going to boil the rules down to the basics and the spirit of Hardcore. Not every rule is covered. Please read the Discord or the add-on page. The rules can be largely summarized as don't die and don't receive assistance from other players. Don't die is pretty self-explanatory. If you die, your run is over, and you delete your character. Even if you have something like a soulstone as a warlock or an ankh as a shaman, your run is over once you die. Don't receive assistance from other players can include anything from don't ask for help with quests, don't ask for buffs, don't group with other players, don't use the mailbox, and don't use the auction house or trade. The only time there's an exception to this is during Hardcore dungeons. You can do each dungeon once on a Hardcore character, and during this time, you are free to group up, ask for buffs, and generally help each other progress through the dungeon. You still may not trade, even with conjured items, such as health stones or mage water. At the time of this recording, there are some specific rules for duos and trios, as well as other rules for Hardcore dungeons. Additionally, for Wrath of the Lich King players, there are rules around Death Knights. Again, read the rules on Discord or in the add-on. If either of these apply to you, they are prone to updates and won't be covered in this video specifically. One more thing to cover is the appeal and verification system. Currently, the Hardcore community allows appeals for the following things, should you have video evidence. Disconnect deaths. If you disconnect and would have reasonably survived an encounter if you hadn't DC'd, we can appeal. We also appeal grief or deaths. For example, if a level 60 warlock drops an infernal on you. Additionally, we can appeal catastrophic gameplay bugs that result in unavoidable instantaneous death. This is a fancy way of saying if your warrior charge makes you fall through the world and die, we can appeal it. Most bugs are not appealable. However, the very obvious, unintended, and instantaneous ones are. Appeals are our way of enforcing the mindset of you're fighting the game, not your internet or grievers.
This is gonna be
your internet going blast. Out or someone with infinite lives going out of their way to kill you intentionally. It's very much out of your control and not in the spirit of the challenge. As such, we let these characters still be verified. Should you reach max level on a hardcore character, you may submit your verification string found in the Verify tab of the hardcore add-on to our website, classichc.net. If you've had no appeals, you will be automatically added to the Hall of Legends and earn your bragging rights. If you have had an appeal, you will need to wait for a moderator to manually verify you. You can reach moderators in the Discord. From max level, you have two choices. Gain your immortality and play the game normally, or double down on your mortality and join a max level hardcore raiding guild. There are some rule changes for max level players that choose this path. All previous hardcore rules apply, except you can now trade and group with other max level hardcore players at any time. Additionally, you can run dungeons as many times as you wish. It would be a little hard to do in-game content without these restrictions lifted. If you die at max level while in the max level hardcore guild, you still delete your character.
Duo with, man.
So that largely covers the rules. Now onto our final section, the FAQ section. Do I need to record? What about a duo or trio? Do one of us need to record as well? Nobody needs to record as long as you have the hardcore add-on. The recording rule is an old rule that is no longer relevant. Is it too late to start? Nope, people die and re-roll all the time. This keeps hardcore in a perpetual fresh state. What happens if I get forced renamed? Due to how character data is stored, you will lose your data on a rename. Please name yourself something within the TOS and don't get renamed. Can I join a duo or drop out of a duo later in the run? Due to how duos and trios work, they must be decided at level 1 to prevent any lingering unfair advantages from being temporarily aided by other players. How do I join max level content? After reaching max level, becoming verified, and doubling down on your mortality, head over to the Guilds tab in the Hardcore Discord and find the level 60 guild for your region and faction. Reach out to the members in-game and have the officers check your verification status. Can I accept mail sent by NPCs? Yes, you will need to temporarily disable the hardcore add-on to do this. Please record yourself doing this in case we need it for verification purposes. Re-enable the add-on after you get the mail. Can I play on 2 different computers? The add-on is unfortunately not omnipotent and cannot communicate across computers. You will need to transfer 2 specific files to continue your run on a separate computer. I will post a tutorial on screen. Please pause and read at your leisure. If my appeal was approved, why does my add-on still say fail? The add-on does not communicate with Discord, so the add-on will not update and say pass. Should you reach max level, reach out to a mod and they will manually verify your appeal. The add-on unfortunately will always say fail and there is no way to correct that. Is it safe to update my add-on mid-run? Yes, as long as you do not touch the WTF folder. In fact, we recommend you update your add-on whenever possible. We regularly push out updates to help prevent griefs and add new features. That covers the usual questions. If you have any others, feel free to ask in the Discord or the comments down below. I will also have my Twitch linked in the description down below. Questions are always welcome if you catch me live. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, consider throwing me a subscription. I'm pumping out hardcore content on the regular and lots of educational content and highlights from raids and events. If you are new to hardcore, I have some videos coming that you will not want to miss. They will increase your life expectancy by at least double, if not up to date, than they would be in this video. As such, I'm going to boil the rules down to the basics and die, and don't receive assistance from other players. Don't die is pretty self-explanatory. If you die, your run is over, and you delete your character. Even if you have something like a soul stone as a warlock or an ankh as a shaman, your run is over once you die. Don't receive assistance from other players can include anything from don't ask for help with quests, don't ask for buffs, don't group with other players, don't use the mailbox, and don't use the auction house or trade. The only time there's an exception to this is during hardcore dungeons. House or trade, group with other players, don't use the mailbox, don't ask for buffs, don't group with other players. Even if you have something like a soul stone as a warlock or an ankh as a shaman, your run is over once you die. Don't receive assistance from other players can include anything from don't ask for help with quests, don't ask for buffs, don't group with other players, don't use the mailbox, and don't use the auction house or trade. The only time there's an exception to this is during hardcore dungeons. You can do each dungeon once on a hardcore character, and during this time, you are free to group up, ask for buffs, and generally help each other progress through the dungeon. You still may not trade, even with conjured items, such as health stones or mage water.
They just started streaming on Kick as well.
At the time of this recording, there are some specific rules for duos and trios,
hey man, I'll try to do that after
other rules for hardcore dungeons. Additionally, for Wrath of the Lich King players, there are rules around Death Knights. Again, read the rules on Discord or in the add-on. If either of these apply to you, they are prone to updates and won't be covered in this video specifically. One more thing to cover is the appeal
let's start our first character. Oh yeah. Let's get a couple add-ons. All right. Here, let me put on some music, boys. See, I'm gonna look at this over here real quick. All right, death equals death. Gear on it. Gear and items. You can use all gear that you self-craft or obtain from quests, drops, NPCs, trades, and rarities. Buffs and player interaction. World and player buffs and assistance are permitted. And are permitted so long as you do not ask for them or continue taking help. Forbidden abilities: warlocks cannot resurrect via SSS. Okay. Paladins can't bubble hearth. No light of a loon. Plus Hearthstone. No using auto unstuck feature to teleport to major cities. Okay. PvP, you can engage in open world PvP and STV arena events if you so desire. However, joining battlegrounds and using ranking and PvP faction gear is forbidden. Okay. No restrictions. All professionals are allowed. No auction house. No players to player. Mail, collecting NPC mail is permitted. Your personal bank can be used. Okay. There we go. Okay, no mounts, no storm mounts. Talents, all talents are allowed to go wild. Trading, no trading of any kind, whether with other characters, even for conjurables like Mage Water. Okay, dungeons, full hardcore dungeons groups are authorized, but only one run of each dungeon per character. Okay. Immortality. At max level, you earn your immortality and become an immortal with insane bragging rights. Okay. Do Entria rules add-on. All members must have the add-on presence. You must be logged on together at the same time, even if not questing. Okay, you must be choose a combo that spawns in the same starting location, or find a way to meet in the middle before you ding level 2. Cling together, swing together. You are soulbound and share one life. If one of you dies, the other must fall on the sword. It's looking sick. Stick together. You must stay in the same zone together. Dark Shore, Dark Shore, unless you are a druid going to Moonglade to complete essential quests, class quests. You can train any solo self found items or crafted items only to each other, including conjurables and gold. Okay. Dungeon rule sets. Frequency. One dungeon ID, you may not reset the dungeon and go again. Level range. Your character level must be within the level range of the authorized level range. Can ding higher. You can ding higher once inside. Okay. Grouping. You may group up and travel to the dungeon together, but avoid killing mobs along the way. Summoning. Warlocks are permitted to use summoning to summon groups members from anywhere, providing it is solely for the purpose of moving them closer to the dungeon, and in the line with rule 3. Okay. Quests. Doing quests marked in your log as dungeon quests, as long as the group outside the dungeon portal is authorized. Respawns. You are allowed to wait for respawns so that players may finish a quest. Okay. Portals. Mages are permitted to portal out group members at the end of the dungeon. Okay. They are permitted. Okay, cool. Disconnects and griefer. Death protection. Okay. Verified rules. All right, cool. Let's do this. and get a few things here. I get that. That should be good. All right, let's get into this. Oh shit, I gotta buy game time. I'm active, bitch. All right, that should work. I fucking did. Alrighty, boys. I fucking did. It's active, bitch. This time it works. This is some bullshit. All right. While we're waiting on that to work, I do want to watch this. Dragon Boys.
The Reach is ours once again. Take cover.
How are they, Sokareth? Is it the aspects?
No. Razageth's kin.
The last
Holy
echoes
shit,
of her
they look
storm
cool.
are fading. She is truly gone.
We should be devouring her murderers' hearts.
Do not underestimate them, Farak. Our sister's overconfidence was her downfall.
Damn, he looks
While the
fucking
aspect's
sick.
power has waned, their forces grow stronger. And we must even the scales.
They kept so many secrets. From us. And even from each other.
This looks fucking dope. No channel points? I don't have, I'm not affiliated yet, man. Sorry.
It is here.
What's going on,
Miltharian's
good chat?
betrayal shattered their unity. Left fissures in their hearts.
Dude, that cape looks so sick.
Was only the beginning.
Aberrus. His hidden laboratory.
One last secret, deep within the earth.
The location of Aberrus must lie within this vessel. I will decipher its knowledge.
What use are Neltharian's twisted experiments to us?
The laboratory itself is of no consequence. But the molten fire that powers it, that we can use.
Keep eyes on them, Desrin. Whatever remains of Neltharian's legacy belongs to us.
Badass. I like it. I like it. All right. I was going to check out Preach's video as well. He went over some stuff on it. So let me do that real quick. All right, let's check this out.
Holla ballers! We got a sneaky presentation from Blizzard about what's coming up in 10.1 as well as the 10.07 release date with a whole bunch of new features for World of Warcraft. Some of them I'm not quite sure I understand what they are. Let's have a look. It all went so well, a little Zoom meeting with a lot of our content creator friends, and God bless the new Blizzard philosophy in communication with not only us, but you guys as well, revealing their plans, getting excited about it, talking in chat like real human beings. My God, if you compare it to the time when I was at the end of my rope with World of Warcraft, I was at the end of my tether with Blizzard themselves, and how they've turned that around in terms of communication and getting information out to people and trying to get you excited about it and trying to gain feedback as early as possible. It's a whole new world over there, and I really hope they figure out their internal issues which have been in the news lately, and we've made some videos on that as well. We're right in the middle of Project MMO right now, which is looking at various different MMOs and seeing how they're all pulling from each other in order to guide their game forward. And that's going to be very relevant in this video, as you're going to see some things which definitely look like they were maybe pulled from other games a little bit, mayhaps. We'll see. We'll see where it's going. So how did it go? Well, we got the release date for 10.07, which will contain the new Torghast-style puzzle system, as well as some new zone stuff, and we've got a video coming for you in the next few days. I'm playtesting it whenever I get opportunity and trying to find all the little quirks and tweaks and stuff. So that's going to be coming on March 21st for you guys, but the main focus was on 10.1, Season 2, all the new big content in the big main patch that's going to be coming for you guys. So the first thing they did was show us the story cutscene. There will be spoilers here, but I'm assuming if you're interested in 10.1, you're probably a little up to date with what's happening in Dragonflight. But either way, I'm sure you know that Raszageth died. Yes, it was killed in the raid. But as Raszageth died, of course, Raszageth's siblings were released. We had the stone, ice, and fire dragons were released from their imprisonment, and that's exactly what they started off with this cutscene. We got to see these 3 siblings, and they're adding a bit of wisdom to them. I really like this. A lot of the villains in World of Warcraft are like, I am bad. It's like, okay, you're bad, I suppose. Or they're doing some really convoluted storyline, as we saw in Shadowlands, that's like, I can't anymore, I can't. But what we did see is that the leader, the Stone Dragon, was saying we need to be cautious. These guys are not jokes. They're not to be underestimated. We need to keep our peepers open on these guys, because they killed Raszageth. They're no jokes. Where we saw Ice and Fire were a little bit more reckless, a little bit more like, let's just kick their ass and take names. And Stonebro was like, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. We need some things first. We need some things first. Now, I'm not going to pretend to be a Giga story man, I'm not, but what I did find really interesting in here, and the main focus seemingly at the start of 10.1 is going to be on Fyrak, which is the fire dragon, is actually the leader, who's clearly the leader, Stonebro, and definitely had a Thanos vibe to him as to how powerful he was very focused on showing in the cutscene his telekinetic abilities. And I would expect raiders out there, who are no doubt going to be facing him, be ready to have your ass slammed into the floor, because if he's doing anything, he's not picking anything up. This guy doesn't even pick up his spoons, eat his breakfast. This guy telekinesis everything. We had a lot of this going on, with the rising and slamming and killing everything, but very, very extraordinarily powerful. It was nice, actually. It had a menacing vibe to it. Really liked that. I thought that was pretty cool. And they mentioned in the story, they mentioned in the cutscene that they're not going to go to war straight away, even though there's 3 of them. Instead, the brothers and sisters are going to go looking for Neltharion's lab, where he was conducting all his experiments. And they don't care about the crappy experiments that Neltharion was doing. What they actually want is the power source. They need the power source that comes from the lab in order to do something with it. So they're looking for more power to strengthen them against us, because we're clearly not jokes. I like this. I like this. They're not just the all-consuming power that I will kill you by ramming my giant sword into the earth. This time they're taking a little bit of patience and time in order to prepare for it. So really like this. But let's move on to the important stuff, which is the gameplay. And there's a lot here. And interestingly, seemingly, any of you guys like Cataclysm? I know it's a mixed bag in some people's eyes, but a lot of Cataclysm-inspired stuff is coming this way, and it's kind of interesting. Let's get the basics out of the way. So Mythic Plus new season, as you will know, or maybe you don't know, they're going to be, like, sunsetting the dungeons that are in the current Mythic Plus pool for now. And then a whole new fresh bunch of Mythic Plus dungeons is coming in. So we'll get the next half of the Dragonflight dungeons, which are not currently in the M Plus dungeons, as well as a bunch of older dungeons brought up to the modern era. So Freehold is going to be in there. Interestingly enough, Vortex Pinnacle from Cata is going to be in the pool. They have gone back as far as the Cataclysm dungeons now in order to make some Mythic Plus dungeons. Awesome. These dungeons are great. I had a great time in Vortex Pinnacle. I thought it was really fun. I'll be interested to see the Tyrannical Wind boss doing his magic once again. I'll be very curious when we get to play that as to how fun it is. There's a lot of people who got lost in Vortex Pinnacle and ended up flying off into the sunset. But we'll see how that goes. But maybe once again we will get to break ourselves upon his body should that dungeon, the Stone Core, reappear. It's not in this Mythic Plus pool, but they've clearly gone back to Cataclysm to get some new dungeons. I wouldn't be mind seeing Stonecore again. It's got some nice, simple, and effective mechanics in there, and they'll no doubt modify some of them as well. So we could be seeing dungeons like that, and maybe even going back further. Maybe we'll see some Wrath of the Lich King dungeons. I don't know. We could see that. We could definitely see something like that, as well as some Legion dungeons coming in. Neltharin's Lair will be reappearing as well in there. We did find out about the new raid. We are obviously expecting a new raid. No surprises there, but it is Aberrus the Shadowed Crucible. It's going to be a 9-boss raid, so right in the middle of where we would expect these raids to be. But the interesting thing is, once again, they are going to be releasing all the difficulties at once. Bit of a mixed reception on this. Some people liked it, some people didn't. Certainly as somebody who's involved in the Race to World First, it doesn't generally mean that there's going to be a ton of splits at the start of the Race to World First. So hopefully I'm going to work with whoever I'm going to be casting with, assuming I'm going to be casting, to create something really fun during that period of time, because it's going to be happening again. That's the way it's going to be. I actually put this presentation out to my team for their feedback on it. The non-raiders didn't really care. The people with experience with raiding hated this. They were like, God damn it, it doesn't seem to benefit anyone. It looks like it probably is happening because there's a very close overlap with Diablo 4 in June, so we can probably expect the raid to be around then, and Diablo 4 is coming out as well. This does seem to suit Blizzard more than it suits the players, but I'm sure some people prefer to have all the difficulties out at once. I personally think a week or so delay is nice for getting into Mythic. You kind of can take your time, you can have some fun in Heroic, you can get a lot of gear out of Heroic, you can do whatever you want to do, and then you're kind of ready to go into Mythic. If you're a Mythic guild, you don't need to think about doing Heroic in Mythic Week when the content you really want to do is just sat there. But yeah, maybe it's a Diablo 4 overlap, whatever it's going to be. Personally, I don't like it. That's my opinion on it. I don't like it. I know from my Mythic raiding days, when Mythic's out, I want to go into Mythic. I don't want to go do Heroic. I don't want to do that. But there are lots of players who aren't in that position who probably just don't care. It doesn't make any difference to them whatsoever. They're not planning on touching Mythic in week 1, 2, or 3 anyway. And perhaps the first boss is really easy, which often happens in Mythic, in which case even Heroic guilds in the early Heroic progress days can jump in and maybe get the first boss kill and pick up some Mythic items. So for them, it could be a benefit. Personally, not a big fan. I don't want to be thinking about Heroic once we get into Mythic, at least not till like later in the week for a couple of hours just to clear it or something. I want to focus on what I want to do. We are getting a new zone though, so again, this Cataclysm vibe. You guys remember Deep Home? You remember that sweet booty? I do. I remember that sweet booty, and the new zone, Zaralek Cavern, is underground. We are going cave diving. We are going cave diving, and we are going to have a roof over our heads, diving deep. But this place is bigger than Zereth Mortis, only just, but it is bigger than Zereth Mortis. Once again, flying will be enabled from the very first go. Very nice. And they have designed this, and this is what I'm super curious about with this content.
So
is
sick.
What lessons have they learned from the Dragonflight launch? What lessons have they picked up from what people actually did with Dragonflying and found a lot of fun, and things that people didn't find particularly fun, and now they can modify it? That's what's always so impressive. And again, with Project MMO that we're doing, we're seeing that progression across the timelines of what worked, what didn't. Let's make that better, and let's improve on this part. And now we're going to get to see how that works, because we are going to have a whole new bunch of dragon riding abilities. Hover? Mayhaps. One of the biggest requests has been the ability to just chill on my mount and just relax. So maybe that's coming, but we're going to have a whole bunch of new Dragonflight glyphs to come with that to unlock the new abilities. Really curious what they do with this, because the Dragonflight glyphs I would consider to be kind of a misfire for the most part. Kind of fun first time round, but definitely once you kind of got the idea, is like, hey, it's really smart if I just go and get these in half an hour or whatever, and then I have a giant menu where dragon riding abilities are like half the screen, and it's a half an hour's worth of content. There's something not quite balancing out there, right? There's something not quite right with them. It's common knowledge now, if you play Dragonflight for the first time, it's like, go and get your dragon glyphs like straight away. It's the first thing you should do, because it just makes the whole game so much easier and so much more fun. And therefore it's kind of a dead end piece of content. I'm really curious what they do with this. Will they add this into some mini games? Will they tie them to races, or will they just be exploration things again? They're actually fine with that. I'm curious how Blizzard has taken the dragon glyph idea and either grown it or accepted as like, oh, it's fine. Yeah, we just want you to explore the zone. That's it. We're flying anyway. But one of the things they mentioned, a big shout outs to Maria, who did the presentation here. Maria's one of the people we interviewed when we were at Blizzard. She's a wonderful lady, lead quest designer on World of Warcraft. Absolutely amazing to see her delivering what this new content is going to be, considering she's in charge of most of the stuff that's coming out in these kinds of patches. Amazing. Is that she mentioned there's a lot of scenic opportunity for weaving through the stalagmites and the stalactites that are going to be in Zaralek Cavern, allow you to do some really cool flying things, which I think people really like. I know I do with dragon flying, is being able to top gun your way through all these valleys and things like that. That's a super fun thing to do with your dragon. So I'm happy to see they're going to be doing that. So I'm very interested on what lessons they've learned and what they show us here with this. We are going to get a new Renown faction down there. This was a misfire. Again, when we put this out to the team, not a misfire, but a mixed bag. The Niffins, they're very cutesy mole blind creatures. little cutesy things.
Those guys are cool.
That are going to be out there. Yeah, they remind me of Porgs. I think they're called Porgs from Star Wars, where you either hate them, some people love them, some people hate them, that are in there. But new mini games similar to what we had with the renowned tracks we already have in Dragonflight, but they're including cave diving into here. I want to know, are they improving on this? Because the Pokemon Snap and all that was such great potential, and it didn't really go anywhere. It was one of the things we talked about during the alpha and beta, is like, hey, this is a great basis to make something really cool later down the line. Like, if this advances and goes anywhere. It hasn't done that yet. So what's the new version of it going to be? Is it relatively simple? I predict it probably will be. Or is it something that has a bit of depth to it, a bit of substance to add to it? Now, they are mixing in here snail races. So where Project MMO comes in, because I've been doing Guild Wars 2 as part of my discovery process on our journey of MMOs, and they have beetle races. They have them in the very earliest zones, pretty much, that you can just go doing hyper-fast beetle races. They have their own leaderboards. They have their own reward structure, all that kind of stuff. My guess is this is just ripped out of Guild Wars 2, if I'm being honest with you. I am that guy now. I've played it, so I'm pretty sure the snail races are probably the beetle races. Will they be as good? That's the question. There's drifting and stuff with the beetle races, and they're very, very quick. Some of the courses are particularly challenging. So I'll be interested to see how the snail races work out. It's just as soon as I saw snail races, I was like, that sounds awfully familiar to something that I've been playing this last couple of weeks. So I'll be very curious to see how that goes. The best thing about the new zone, though, the new raid, does have its all class specific tier sets. They're always subjective as to whether you like them or not, or whether you're going to stick with what you have. But one of the coolest things we saw here, and seemingly universal amongst my team at least, was the themed outdoor world sets, which are based on the Black Dragonfly, which are a big part of 10.1, including matching armor mounts.
God damn.
And they're awesome looking. They're really, really good. And I was like, this is great. Mounts that are also armored the same as your character is a really stark, bold image that a lot of people will get on board with, especially if they're repping a dragonfly that they have a particular affinity to. And this is something that can be extended to so many things. Instead of it being, oh, I've got to find the right mount recolor to match my armor, kind of. And most people just don't bother when it comes to mounts, especially because we're limited to dragons. We are getting new dragons. We saw a little preview picture of the new dragons that you'll be getting if you want to more. They looked a bit spindly compared. I have a big beefy dragon. That's what I have in Dragonflight, but there is some new dragons coming. But we have ground mounts as well. They haven't given up on that. One of the biggest complaints I saw from my mount and collector friends was that Dragonflight did not have a lot of mount collection. Their usual first weeks of a new expansion are spent farming the rares, collecting the chain quests that need to be done. There was a couple, but nowhere near as many as there were in Shadowlands and stuff. But now, it looks like Zaralek Cavern is going to be reintroducing some of that stuff that people like, and with cool themes to match them. They did say there's going to be recolors and stuff, but matching an armor set to collect, a weapon set to collect, and a matching mount to go with it, I think people are going to dig on that. Really cool. Let's get to the little extras that they announced here, that I wasn't particularly sure what it was. One of the big ones was the HUD UI revamp. They're not giving up. This means that, according to my calculations, the UI has had more updates in Dragonflight than it has since ever in the history of World of Warcraft. And I'm glad they're not giving up on it, because they're really trying to, and add-ons have been a big subject lately, trying to get away from people requiring certain add-ons by just like, what is it you guys use all the time? Okay, let's just build that into the game. Because if everybody's using it, then we should have it in the game. So they mentioned things like Group Manager are coming in, which is really nice. A raid frame modifier. Mwah, more work on the raid frames, please. It's so frustrating to get, because they're so nearly perfect. And I like using the Blizzard raid frames because all the weird debuffs and stuff just work on the Blizzard ones, whereas in some custom UIs, you've got to manually add things, you've got to filter things, all that kind of stuff. And the Blizzard UI usually just accounts for everything. But it's bad to modify. It's so shite. So I'm glad that's working. Modifications to the quest tracker. Thank God. It's such a pain in the ass that I end up just minimizing that damn thing all the time. One thing they're going to be changing is the quest bang. You probably don't know what that is. In fact, it wasn't a term I heard until we were on the campus. But it's actually exclamation mark above NPCs' heads that have quests for you. You're going to be able to edit that. It seems that's at least what's mentioned. It's just written in a list of things they're allowing us to do, but they're going to be able to change that in some way. Okay. But what was really interesting was edit mode ++. That sounds interesting, because that sounds like they're going to give you a lot more flexibility in little tiny changes that you can make to UI. Edit mode ++ has me particularly excited that they've created an advanced mode for people who really want to fidget with their UIs, because I look around Twitch, and I did it just before recording this, not many people are utilizing the Blizz UI, like streamers in particular, because they have so many add-ons and so many modifiers that it makes no sense, because they're going to replace them with these UI packages that everybody has. Now, maybe it's a losing effort for Blizz to try and get people away from that, but for new players and for returning players, and especially for the more casual players who aren't downloading massive packages of add-ons, and some people just plain don't like add-ons, this should be really cool. So I'm very curious as soon as this goes on the PTR, which it might be this week, because they just renamed one of our PTRs to 10.1 from 10.05. So I'll be very curious to see if that's on there. And if it is, it's one of the first things we're going to mess with. Is like, what is edit mode ++? They didn't give us a Q&A during this presentation, so couldn't get any answers on that. The other one is cross-faction guilds are finally coming to the game. We suspected it for a while, they've talked about it, and we are probably going to see it in 10.1. The presentation I got to see, presented by Maria, the words were very specific that we're working on it, and it is scheduled for 10.1, but it wasn't said that it was ready. So it might not be a launch feature exactly, but they're planning to have this in and working for 10.1. It may even launch with it, who knows? It just, the wording made it sound like maybe it wasn't quite ready or quite 100%.
That makes
but certainly
me
it's on the cards for 10.1.
Fucking
now,
excited.
This is something I'm really looking forward to. We have so many viewers, so many people who want to play with. All getting them into one guild is really difficult without having to transfer, or just because they want to play other races, like many other games have done now. I know so many people who would rather play the Alliance races, and we've seen the World First guilds do exactly this, but are kind of forced to play Horde because of the raid scene. Or they have to have some sort of extra character that they go back on to do their achievements and things on with the guild. Dude. Otherwise, they don't get to benefit from it. Cross-faction guilds is one of the biggest features I'm looking forward to. It has been a hell of a long time coming, especially with Thrall and Jaina shaking hands and cuddling all the time. So she said we're currently working on it. It's slated for 10.1. We just didn't get like the verbal confirmation. We didn't get to ask questions that it's happening at the start of 10.1, but we'll probably see it during that patch cycle, which it's fine. That's really good. That was pretty much everything they let us know about this place. What are my thoughts on it, like, overall? Very cool. Like, I was pretty excited by a lot of this stuff. Besides the raid release, which doesn't really affect me anymore, as I'm currently just doing Heroic until I feel the need to go back into Mythic. Vault of the Incarnates did not give me that feeling. I was fine with not doing that on Mythic. Razagath looked like kind of a pain in the ass. And that was what I judged it on, was on Razagath. I was like, we could raid Mythic again. We talked with our team, which had a good 20 people in it, and we were like, do we really want to do this pushback stuff and all that? And like, not really. I'm quite happy doing some M+ and just clearing Heroic, which is what we did. But hopefully, we'll see. 9 bosses, not a huge amount. The universal release will be hit and miss depending on who you are. What I am interested in is the zone. I'm interested in Zeralek Kevin. We're going to get to fly there straight away. I want to know, like, the biggest thing I'm feeling is
like a really cool
what
zone.
Improvements have you made from dragon flying? Because obviously, as we know with the development cycle, Zeralek Cavern has been in production for a long time. We know that, right? We know how the system works now. We've revealed that. We've pulled back the curtain on it. So has it had any effect yet? Or will we have to wait till like 10.3 to see like real change? based on what they learned at the start of Dragonflight. Really interested to see how this plays out. Super interested to see how it goes, as well as the new UI stuff. And obviously, looking into new Mythic Plus dungeons makes me excited for Mythic Plus again. I've never been excited about Mythic Plus besides the start of an expansion. New season, sure, but I'm excited to get a whole bunch of new gear rather than run the dungeons. We're going to get to relearn a bunch of new dungeons. We're going to get to fool around, fall over, and do all those kind of things, and reset everybody to getting back in. And obviously this time, people will go in well better prepared because they'll have experience with doing Dragonflight dungeon style and all the different CCs that are now with the new talent tree system. And then we're going to get to apply that to all these new dungeons with pretty decent gear rather than the starter greens that we went in Dragonflight. So all that has me pretty excited about 10.1. I'll be looking forward to jumping in day one. So that's the presentation. Big thanks to Blizzard for showing this off. It was very cool. We don't have a release date for 10.1. March 21st is 10.07. So stick around and I will give you my thoughts on this new advanced Torghast system that they're iterating on. Blizzard's iterating. Weird. See you again, guys. Bye-bye.
Cool. Nice. Can't wait for the cross fashion guilds, man. That's gonna be a blast. Good shit, Blizzard. Keep it up. Even though I don't like the CEO over there, it seems like teams are doing good. All right. Let's see. I think I'm gonna re-download fucking WoW, dude. I'm kind of getting a little hyped. Watch another video for a few minutes. Oh shit.
Stolen code allegations. The search was reportedly connected to allegations of theft from Nexon, but Iron Mace says there's nothing to worry about. Wait a second, let me just turn this off so you guys can hear it. Dark and Darker studio raided by police following stolen code allegations. I don't know why I'm having trouble saying that. Search was reportedly connected to allegations of theft from Nexon, but Iron Mace says there's nothing to worry about. A Yonhap news report says police in South Korea. Oh, that's interesting because that's actually where Nexon is. Search the office of Dark and Darker. Developer Iron Mason seized materials related to the project. The raid of the city in, I don't know how to say that, was reportedly connected to allegations that the game is being built using code and assets stolen from Nexon. Nexon was reportedly working on a similar project as P3 before pulling the plug. Iron Mace was founded shortly afterward and includes former Nexon employees who apparently didn't part with the company on the best of terms. The Iron Mace website describes the studio as a merry band of veteran game developers disillusioned by the exploitative and greedy practices that we once helped create. There it is. A complaint over the matter was filed by Nexon. Oh, okay. Because like I originally didn't even believe this until I see that there's actually a filing that we can see. All right. The Yonhap report says that Gyeonggi, Southern Police, forwarded the matter to the branch of the Suwon District Prosecutor's Office of 2022, which requested a supplementary investigation in December. Iron Mace denied the allegations in February, saying absolutely no stolen assets or code were used to make our game. It was also described as a lawsuit filed against Nexon, at least one of the former employee who moved to Iron Mace, as a separate personal matter. Okay. In messages posted to the Dark and Darker Discord, an Iron Mace employee using the name Grayson acknowledged, Dread Gladiator, acknowledged that the police search happened, but nothing was found. They also recommended that followers not worry too much about what you hear regarding Nexon. Most of what you see on the internet is not accurate. There will be no delay in development, and there is nothing to worry about. Okay, so they actually tweeted this out. Okay, great. So, reached out to Iron Mace, and they haven't replied yet. Okay, well, so this is really the way that I look at it, is that whenever you work for a company, everything that you do and the work that you create that's at least, you know, a part of, like, that thing, like, I don't think it's, I do not find it ethical to work for a company and then leave the company and then take the things that the company paid you to work on and go and make your own thing. Like, I do not find this to be ethical. However, I don't think this is what's happening. Like, I saw the videos and the comparison of Dark and Darker and this P3 game. They're not the same thing. So I think that there will probably be a lawsuit for this. I absolutely think this is going to happen. Now, I'm not sure about it, but it certainly seems like things are winding up to be like that. Wouldn't they have non-competing agreements? You know what? I don't know if they have non-competes, because, like, I don't know if non-competes are like a US thing or other companies or other countries do them too. I'm genuinely not sure. So I can't really say one way or another. But they use maybe it's some part of the code. I think so. It's South Korea, bro. It's different laws there. Exactly. But, like, I feel like they probably have something that's similar to a non-compete. Like, while each country does have its own laws, there are a lot of overlaps in different kinds of laws. What if the company pulls the trigger? Then why not? Maybe they want it to continue anything that we work